Yeah, started recording. You may go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So my topic for today is prevention of cross-site scripting attacks in web applications. So Nitin, the slide is not getting reflected. Hello,
I have given you remote access.
I'm not able to control the slide.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah, fine. So we'll be discussing what XSS is. XSS is basically cross-site scripting, the working, the types of XSS. We'll be going through the literature survey, the existing techniques that are present, the proposed technique from one of the literature survey papers, the analysis of the result, and few case studies. So we'll be going through all that. So coming to the introduction, cross-site scripting basically it's a vulnerability in web applications. It's a client-side attack. So basically, there is no server involved. The server doesn't get affected. It's a client-side attack where the code is executed in the victim's browser. So it can be either by injecting JavaScript into the web application, and the victim will visit the web application, or the URL itself will contain the payload, and the user will trick the victim to access that URL. It can be either through phishing or social engineering. So that's a brief about what XSS is, and there are many consequences of XSS attacks. Basically, attackers can hijack user accounts. He can steal credentials, passwords. He can leak sensitive data, so he can get credit card numbers, social security numbers, Aadhaar numbers, and stuff. Unauthorized access to client computers. So basically, if you're running a script, it can do anything on your computer. So it can even give you unauthorized access, and yeah, and it can also deface websites. So these are few of the consequences of XSS. And here I've written as OWASP. OWASP is nothing but Open Web Application Security Project. It's a community-led organization which works to improve the security in the cyberspace, and they release a list of top 10 vulnerabilities every few years so that everyone gets aware of that. And this XSS attack has been in the list ever since 2003. That was a very from the very first list. XSS is always there even in 2019. So it is pretty relevant attack today, and XSS is also known as the godfather of all web attacks, and it can have a serious impact on the organization's IT infrastructure. So coming to the working of XSS. Hello, Nitin. Yeah, coming to the working of XSS. Typically, this is a standard typical XSS attack.
Purnana,
There are many ways.
your voice is
Yes, ma'am.
so low. You just increase the
Hello,
pitch, okay? I'm not able to hear properly.
hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in a
Now,
typical XSS attack, there are two stages. The attacker first find a way to inject malicious code. So it can be sitting on a web server or it can be reflected directly. First, the attacker must find a way to inject that malicious code, and he must lure the victim into into visiting the web page which contains this thing, what the payload. It can be done either by social engineering or phishing. I will be explaining about all the different types of attacks in a while. So coming to the types of XSS, there are three types, that is stored or persistent XSS, reflected or non-persistent XSS, and DOM-based XSS. So the first one is reflected XSS. So reflected XSS, basically the payload is not stored in the web application. Payload is within the user supplied input and it is sent directly to the web application. So as you can see in the figure, the attacker sends payload script alert of one script. So that alert of one is the payload and it is being sent to the web server, and you can see that it is not being stored in the web server. The web application will reply, like it will give the response to the request along with the script, but the response will not be visible to the user. Only the script will be loaded and it will be executed. So here this is reflected XSS. And coming to stored XSS occurs when user input is stored on a web application and then rendered in a web page. So basically what happens is the attacker will create a payload and he will save it in the web server. So basically I'm creating, for example, I'm creating a Facebook account and for the username, I'm just entering some payload and I'm saving it in the web server. And whoever visits my profile, they'll not see my profile, but the script will be executed. So that is stored XSS. And coming to DOM based XSS, so DOM is basically an application programming interface for HTML and XML documents. It will define the logical structure of the document and the way the document must be accessed or manipulated and stuff. So XSS attack, where the attack payload is executed just because of the result of the modification of the DOM environment, is called as XSS attack. So as you can see, the first thing is attacker will discover some web application that is vulnerable to DOM based accesses. Then he will craft a payload and he will send it to the victim. The victim will click on the URL. It will be, the request will be sent to the server and the response will be sent back to the user. As you can see, till now there is no payload execution. Even in the response also there is no payload execution. It's a legitimate site. But once it comes into the victim's browser, due to the modification in the DOM model, the payload will get executed. The victim's browser will render the page, and within that, the attacker XSS payload is executed. So that is DOM based XSS. So coming to the literature survey, I have gone through all these 5 papers, and I'll be presenting the first paper, the technique which is presented in first paper. I'll come back to the first paper later. The second paper, deep XSS, they make use of a deep learning model, that is long short-term memory or LSTM, recurrent neural network, to classify XSS. It can be either stored or reflected. And detecting blind cross-site
Purnima,
scripting attacks
do
using,
you have
yes,
any
ma'am?
methodology to be explained here, or you're
Hello,
going through the case study?
ma'am?
Do you
Hello.
have any methodologies to explain here, or do you have any case
Yes,
study?
ma'am. The first, I will be explaining the technique that was there in the first paper, ma'am, based on scripts
No,
features
no, no,
analysis.
not in this literature survey. After this literature survey.
After this literature survey, I'll be explaining one technique or method to detect excesses. Then I'll be going to the case studies, ma'am.
Yeah, go to that. Then we'll come back to literature survey. Like how this
Okay,
paper is got linked to that. Okay, move to
yes,
that
ma'am. Yes.
directly.
Before I can start with the proposed technique, I will just tell you about the existing techniques that are present today. So the first one is escaping input. So basically, we are encoding special characters, which this will help change the specific characters which might otherwise be harmful. So as you saw in reflected attack, the script tag, the lesser than and the greater than symbol, that can be encoded as IND LT and IND GT. So if you are escaping input like this, then it can help prevent XSS attack. The next one is input validation. In input validation, we are making sure that input doesn't contain any unexpected characters. Suppose, for example, the age field should only contain numbers. It shouldn't contain any letters or any other scripts. So that is input validation. And sanitizing input is combining both escaping input and input validation. The user input is analyzed, and if there is any potentially harmful markup or something, then it will be scraped. And coming to whitelisting values, there will be a particular set of list, and only those set of list will be accepted. For example, a gender can be only male or female or other. So only these 3 values will be accepted. No other values will be accepted. So that is whitelisting values. And coming to content security policies, this is a, what do you say? This is a policy which allows the developer to specify where and how the JavaScript can be implemented and executed. So you can specify the JavaScript to be not to be executed at all in the website. So it will be safe from excesses, but it will have its own drawbacks. We can't use any scripts to make the website interactive and stuff. So content security policy is one more method that is there, which helps in preventing excesses. So coming to the proposed technique. So the first paper in the literature survey as per proposes technique. So the idea behind this technique is basically we are using a server-side XSS detection approach. We are not modifying the client side or the application source code. And it works on two phases, that is the training phase and the detection phase. The training phase consists of 4 steps. Yeah, the training phase which is a phase 1 year, as you can see. The training phase consists of 4 steps and 4 modules. The first module is the crawler. The crawler is basically used to take collect all the URLs that are present in the website, and for this, the module name Spider is used. It extracts all the URLs from the website and it will send it to the JavaScript extractor. So JavaScript extractor basically extracts and classify all the JavaScripts present in the website into 5 different categories. The categories can be inline scripts, which are embedded inside HTML, local script inclusion, the script is inside in the same server, remote script inclusion, the script can be from some other server, event handlers like on click event, on mouse click event, and such. URL attribute values are the URL attributes will sometimes contain scripts. So those kind of scripts will be classified into URL attribute values. So the JavaScript extractor module analyzes the source code of the collected pages, which is sent from the crawler, and it will extract all the scripts and then uses regular expression to get the type of each extracted script. So basically all the 5 classes will have its own signature. Using that, using the regular expressions, we can get the type of each of the extracted script. Then it is sent to the features extractor. The feature extractor will extract the signature of the method definition and the method call. So basically it will extract the method names, the parameters, the arguments that are used, and also to note, it will extract the hash code of its implementation. So even if one single variable changes in the function, we'll get to know because the hash code will change. So this is so the hash code is used so that the function is not modified, and all these extracted features are stored in the database. So there will be 3 tables in the database, basically pages, scripts, and features. The pages table will contain all the URLs and the number of scripts in each page. The scripts will contain the content page URL from where the script was taken from and the type of script. The features will contain all the features like the methods, the hash value, and stuff. So this is the first phase. So coming to the phase 2, that is the detection phase, it analyzes client request and server response as well. So it will analyze both the request that is being sent from the client and also the server, also the response that is given back from the server. It has 6 steps and it has 5 modules. We'll come back to the modules later. First, I'll tell the steps. So the first thing it does is the traffic sensor module will intercept all the HTTP requests and the responses of the web application. It will extract the script, and then the scripts extractor will extract the script from the intercepted responses. Here the script extractor and the features extractor are the same as that of in the phase 1. There is no change in that. After extraction of the features of the scripts, it is forwarded to the deviation detector module if to check if there is any deviation in the number of scripts or the type of scripts that's present. If there is any changes in the type of script, we'll go to the XSS type determinator. It will determine if it is a stored XSS or reflected SSS, and then it will be sent to the sanitizer, which will remove the harmful script, and the response will be sent back. If there is no deviation, then it will be directly sent back to the client. So coming to the 5 modules that is present here, the traffic sensor module will intercept all the traffic between the web application and passes it to the extractor module or the scripts extractor. The script extractor and the feature extractor are the same as that of in the phase 1. In the deviation module or the script features comparator, what it does is it compares the number of scripts first, and then it compares each script with the script that is present in the database which was stored before. If there are any changes, then it will get to know like if there are any deviations or not. Then if there are no deviations, it will be sent back, and if there are deviations, it will be sent to the XSS type determinator. The XSS type determinator will classify the type of XSS. It can be either stored or reflected based on the comparison of the extracted script of request message and the extracted script from response message. So in the request message and the response message, we'll get to know if there are any if it's a stored XSS or a reflected XSS. So that is about the technique. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, continue.
Yes, ma'am. So that is the proposed technique. And coming to the result analysis, this paper is they have implemented they have taken 3 web applications for the testing of this model. The first one is DVWA, that is Damn Vulnerable Web Application. It's an open source web application that is specifically used for security testing. It's the same with Multilida also. It's an open source deliberately vulnerable web application. Even that's used for testing. And XSS test is a web application specifically built for this model, for testing this model. And these are the application characteristics. As you can see, the number of pages, the inline script, the local script, and remote script and stuff. And as you can see, there are 7 attack vectors here, which are used to inject XSS into the 3 web applications. And as you can see, 50 scripts were injected in total, out of which the percentages of different types of XSS can be seen. Different types of JavaScript can be seen. And this has obtained a false negative rate of 0.13. So it has a high rate of detecting XSS attacks. So this is about the result analysis. And now coming to the case studies, I have listed down 4 case studies here. The first one is on MySpace. So MySpace was a social network back in 2005. It was quite famous. So what happened was an XSS worm was used to attack on MySpace. It did not need any user input, and it spreads on its own. Basically, it's a worm, so it spreads on its own. And within 24 hours, 1 million users were affected by this XSS worm. If the MySpace website were using HTTPS, or basically SSL layer security, this could have been prevented, and even whitelisting and escaping input, as I told, would have prevented this XSS worm attack on MySpace. And coming to PayPal, PayPal was attacked in 2006, where 200 million of its users were affected. The attacker basically targeted users by sending an email stating their account has been disabled, and he provides a link so that they can retrieve the account. The users, not knowing it's a XSS attack, they basically opened the URL and entered all their information. The URL contained forms to collect information such as SSN number, PIN codes, passwords, and stuff. So basically, the attacker got all the information of 200 million users. So this was a very big attack in 2006 on PayPal. This was possible because PayPal's web application firewall was outdated. They didn't update it regularly, so they succumbed to this attack. And coming to attack on Amazon, in 2013, it underwent a stored XSS attack. So basically, this affected the Kindle ebook library. So what happened was the payload was injected through the ebook metadata. Metadata is basically the data about the books and stuff. So the payload in the metadata allowed the attacker to access cookies, and this in turn helped him to access user info. So cookies will basically store your usernames, password, your session information, and all that stuff. And the attacker could access all these cookies due to this thing, what vulnerability. Amazon could have prevented it by validating input and by escaping input, but didn't. And they couldn't find it out before the attack happened, and they took almost 1 month for the patch to be released. So it was also one of the major attacks on Amazon. And coming to Twitter attack on 2014, there was a third-party application called TweetDeck, which could access Twitter, basically all the stuffs in Twitter. It was an application within Twitter, and 15% of the 50 million users were affected due to this Twitter XSS attack. So basically, it wasn't very dangerous attack. It just made users to retweet their own old tweets and stuff, but it increased the load on the Twitter server, and so basically it had to be patched. Twitter could have prevented this by sanitizing input and disabling the third party access, but they
Sonanna,
didn't do at that time. Ma'am?
ಇದಿರಲ್ಲ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ನೀವೀಗ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು,
ಇಲ್ಲ
ನೀವು
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್,
ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ರೈಟ್?
ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಡೆಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್
ಓಕೆ,
ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್.
ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಓನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಂತ್ ತಗೊಂತು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವರ್ ತಗೊಂತು ಅಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ? ಏನಾದ್ರು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು?
ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ಒಂದು
ಓಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ಒಂದು 1 month ತಗೊಳ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್
ಹಾ.
ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ. ಟ್ವಿಟರ್ ವಾಸ್ 0 day ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್, ಸೊ ಅವರು ಅವತ್ತೇ
Okay.
ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಪೇಪಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಪೇಪಲ್ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಗ್ರಿ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದೇರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ
So
Okay,
I did
pa.
not get much information on that.
ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 month ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ. 1 month ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಇಟ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್
Basically,
people, ಅಲ್ವಾ?
basically
Animals
what
people.
happened ಅಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಂಡ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ವಲ್ನರಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಅವ್ರು ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವರ್ಷನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ವಲ್ನರಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ದೇ ಮಿಸ್ ದ ವಲ್ನರಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ದೇ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ನೋ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ವಿತ್ ರೀ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್.
Okay, okay.
So
Okay, pa.
yes, ma'am. So they took 1 month for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can continue.
So these are the 4 case studies, and coming to the conclusion and future work. So conclusion, as we also we saw what is XSS, the types of XSS, and how XSS is executed, and we also saw an approach using script feature analysis which helps us to detect XSS. And coming to the script feature analysis, one thing is it does not detect XSS which is embedded in other files. Suppose we embed a script in CSS file, this method will not detect that XSS. So in future scope we can include that also. And in the literature survey, I did not explain. Kavya ma'am, if you want, I can explain the literature survey.
No need. It was all about existing techniques, right?
Yes ma'am.
Or if anything is there, like it was so related to your proposed technique.
No, it wasn't related, ma'am. Basically they are using deep learning and
Yeah,
machine learning
that's what.
models with
So no need to
less
explain
data
those
sets. So
existing one. Otherwise, it was good.
yes, ma'am, fine. So yeah, that's about it. Any questions? These are the references of the papers.
Unana.
Yeah, yes sir.
You know, it is very difficult to determine if you have been attacked, right? It's very difficult.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
Okay,
yes.
so how do you now know if you are vulnerable to XSS attack? How do you know if you are vulnerable to it?
Basically, companies hire security professionals to pen test their application
Okay,
and check if they're vulnerable or not.
Yeah, okay, fine. Forget them now. They are all high-end professionals. So I want you have developed a simple application, okay, maybe web-based application, right?
Okay.
For your project.
Yeah.
So how can you determine, okay, if that's, let's say some of the stuff is vulnerable to attack, you can perform some security review thing, no? Like what? I've given you the way, like what? What can you do? Pen testers, easy. License penetration testers, yeah. For
Basically we can implement the same model which I just explained. If we like, so basically my application, I'll just scan all the URLs, I'll keep it in the database, whatever scripts I'm using. Then I'll check each request whether the scripts are matching or not, and if it's not matching, then I know there's a XSS attack, so I can bring some patches for that.
Okay. Yeah, sure, right?
Yeah.
Have you tried doing that before? Like you've done some web-based projects. Yeah, did you do that?
I've tried XSS attacks, but I've not had tried patching the vulnerability.
Okay, so differentiate between XSS and DOS now.
XSS is basically you're injecting scripts and running scripts on the client side. In DOS attack, what we do is we send traffic. So crawling can be an example of DOS attack. So I have a website I'll keep on sending requests to the website. If the website is hosted in a small server with a small capacity, it will crash.
Okay,
So
now,
basically that
yeah,
is DOS.
fine. Lastly, you are confusing DOS with DDoS. So what's the difference?
DDoS is basically the traffic will be from different nodes. In DOS attack, it will be just from one node. In DDoS, we will simulate the traffic to be from different nodes.
Yes. Okay, what does D stands for in that case?
Distributed denial of service and denial of service.
Okay. Bye. Good boy. I'm done.
Fine. Yes. Any more questions, ma'am?
No, it was good. Now we'll continue with Swati. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So you can join the meeting again, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll rejoin.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, guys.